One lifetime Spur who has progressed every year, is in the last year of his contract, and we are going to see if he can provide and prove that he is a San Antonio Spur, and we'll break it down all here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. But again, on the road to 1K, we want to get there before the season starts. Take a Spur of the moment, get every Spurs moment, hit that subscribe button, but we want to get to that 1K. We want to keep growing this channel, preparing ourselves for the lovely season we have around the corner. But the Spur we're talking about, Tre Jones, he is heading himself into a contract year with the San Antonio Spurs. What do we expect out of Tre Jones, almost said Trae Young, and Tre Jones in 2024, in one of his most important years of his entire career? Tre Jones entering a crucial season with the San Antonio Spurs. A lot to talk about when it comes to this game. 4 seasons, the Jones has established himself as a reliable, smart floor general who knows how to run an offense. The question now is, how much longer will he be wearing a Spurs jersey, especially with some major changes to the lineup? Those major changes, of course, drafting Stephon Castle, a guard. You've got Devin Vassell, and then, of course, getting Chris Paul in the offseason. Jones' role in the team's grown over the years. Last season, started 48 of 77 games, 30 minutes a game, but with the Spurs getting Chris Paul on a 1-year deal, his minutes are going to look like they're going to take a hit. Starting point guard spot belonged to Paul, leaving Jones in the second unit alongside Zach Collins, Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie. It's a new role for him, but with competition fierce, Jones is capable of being an impact player off the bench. And last year, what he was able to do was put up 10 points and 6 rebounds a game, shot 50% from the floor, 33.5% from 3. A lot of his threes last year were assisted, and a lot of the three, he shoots better from the corners, which is a good thing to note, because if you are in the corners, that means you're going to be playing off ball, and you can put a Chris Paul and Tre Jones, even though that would be a shorter backcourt, depending on the team that you're playing, you can put that in as your backcourt mate. So the thing with Tre Jones that I find quite interesting is the development from Chris Paul. I think that this prove it year, he's going to make the most of his minutes because that's what he's always done and that's what he knows. He's a professional. He's one of those guys who, even though he's been in the league only 4 years, going into his 5th, he feels like an 8 or 9 year veteran. He just plays such a smart, sound game. He doesn't do things out beside himself. He doesn't try to do too much. He knows exactly who he is as a player, and as a player, he is a great backup point guard or a quality starting point guard on a lot of teams. The thing with Tre Jones is he's now getting to man the second unit, but that second unit's not going to just be some bums that he's going to be playing with. He's got, as I said, Julian Champagnie. You've got yourself Keldon Johnson off the bench. You've got Zach Collins. You've got some scoring bigs, some scoring wings, and then also you think you're going to couple that with Stephon Castle. Castle's going to be playing a lot of minutes. I think probably start off playing 24-ish, and then I think he could end the season nearing 30 minutes a game, but he's still going to play with a talented second unit, and of course you're going to overlap that with playing with Wemby, with playing with Chris Paul, as I said a little bit, Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell. You'll see what the rotations do look like. So I think Tre Jones is going to still be a pivotal piece to this team having success this season, and we know Chris Paul's health is not something that's guaranteed at all. It's honestly almost guaranteed that he is not healthy. So Chris Paul is not going to play 80 games, 70 games. He might be looking around the 58 kind of games. That still gives Tre Jones the opportunity to start a few games here and there, depending on how Stephon Castle looks, and if you want to go with the Castle-Vassell backcourt, which will eventually be the starting. But Tre Jones will still find a place on this team, and I think that he is going to, moving forward, be A-okay. If he continues to trend upward his shooting, will only make him more valuable to the Spurs or any other team that he might be interested in after the season. Definitely, though, Jones is a key cog defensively. Relentless on the side of the ball, often disrupting opponents by jumping passing lanes, forcing turnovers. His quickness allows him to keep up with even the fastest guards. That's the thing about him. He's an undersized guard. That's one of his weaknesses that he has. He's unfortunately undersized. That's okay. He was given what he's been given, but he's made the most out of his potential. So, and he's only continuing to grow. The thing with this San Antonio Spurs team that's so phenomenal, they've just got so many defensive pieces that this team really just needs one more quality-ish style scorer, and then this team's going to be a contender for a long period of time. This team can compete right now, but to be true contenders, they need to replace Harrison Barnes with a guy who I really want them to target this offseason, depending on if it's possible, which is Jalen Johnson. A guy, if you add a Jalen Johnson to Chris Paul, if he's there for another year. If not, you would need to get another point guard. Even Tre Jones filling in for that wouldn't bother me at all. But you've got Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Tre Jones, Jeremy Sochan, Victor Wembanyama. You see what you do with the Zach Collins contract. If you can move it, keep it. Keldon Johnson off the bench. You could build this team into something great. They're missing one little piece to make themselves true contenders every year. And Tre Jones being a part of this team for the foreseeable future is what I see needing. You need those guys off the bench who are going to play smart quality minutes. The Warriors needed Sean Livingston to come in and play quintessential point guard, smart quality minutes, give them buckets and play some defense for them. All of these teams needed it. We even saw what Peyton Pritchard did this year. I understand he's not the same level of defender as Tre Jones, but he even played tough defense on Luka when he had to. He made his signature half-court shots at this point for him. So a lot of you guys, a lot of teams need to have those guys, especially point guards off the bench, because your point guard can't play 48 minutes. They need to learn how to run a second unit, and Tre Jones can do just that because he was doing very good running the first unit last season. Let me know if you guys think that Tre Jones will prove himself to be a future San Antonio Spur, if you would like to keep him on the San Antonio Spurs roster going forward, or if it's a guy who in or out doesn't really bother you. I think he's a guy who's pivotal to championship success because I think bench play, I think if you can go 8 or 9 deep in the playoffs, that's going to be very pivotal. You need to have an 8 or 9, and he's one of the best 8 or 9 on the Spurs. But let me know what you guys think in the comments there. It's a Spurs Digest with your host here, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you guys very soon.